I don't know if you're going to be able to trust me after this rating. Cut that, please. Welcome back to another episode of the Album Book Club EP Reviews. Today we are going to be reviewing the Shoebox EP by the Barenaked Ladies. This EP was made shortly after the release of their 1995 album, Born on a Pirate Ship. This album was actually quite notable because some of the tracks were featured on the show Friends on cable television, back when that was still a thing.
That was relevant, yeah.
The first song on this EP is Shoebox, but the radio remix version. Honestly, this is just classic Barenaked Ladies sound. This sound, or I guess rather this mix of sounds, was very iconic for the early 2000s, especially for people who grew up in the early 2000s listening to, or I guess the soundtracks of like Chicken Little and other movies like that. I mean, this kind of music was all over the place. You cannot get away from this sort of like surf rock, like groove,
weird little like acoustic go in at it kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The chorus kind of felt like doo-woppy to me.
A little bit.
I don't know if that's like an influence from surf rock that they're drawing on more so than anything, which I noticed they do a lot on this EP.
Yeah. But
I just got a lot of that when I was listening to the chorus. Honestly though, I feel like the song just kind of went on for a tad bit too long.
Yeah, just a little bit. It was very basic, I think, and I think having both versions on this EP shows how much more basic this one is than the other. But it's overly produced, I think, is what it is. It feels less raw to me.
That's fair.
But that could all just be in my mind seeing radio edit on the tag.
Yeah, I get that. I'm kind of in the same boat where, like, if I see something, radio edit, like, I'm less likely to listen to it.
Yeah.
I was interested about the Barenaked Ladies because, going into it, you're not like, everything's gonna be censored because of lyrical content or whatever. I mean,
yeah,
they don't, say bad things or rather profane things. So I was just curious. After doing some research, it looks like the only difference was like an 8-bar instrumental intro on this version over the other, mostly.
But the feel is different to me.
I get that. Honestly, I'm right there with you. I rated the song an 8.5 out of 10.
I rated this song a 6 out of 10.
I don't know if you're going to be able to trust me after this rating. Cut that shit, please. That takes us into the next title on this track, which is Trust Me, the EP version. This was a B-side off of the album Born on a Pirate Ship. Honestly, huge surf rock sounds on this. It's like I got like Beach Boys. And I mean, I haven't really heard that much of the Beach Boys, but what I have heard was this.
Yeah. I got more La Bamba out of it.
That's fair.
This was straight up, not the Richie Valens version though. This was the Los Lobos version for the movie, where it's just a little bit faster. And that intro felt very close. This song might be keyed in G, which is why it's even closer. But yeah, it's a very, very fun song.
That's also, that's what I said as well. A very fun song. I think it would make a great karaoke song, actually.
Yeah, ironically enough, I think it would. It translates very well to that kind of like any guy can sing it range.
Yeah. I gave a song a 7.8 out of 10.
I gave this song a 7 out of 10.
That takes us into the third track on this EP, which is titled If I Had $1 Million, Yellow Tape version. I think we can all agree that this is an absolute classic. Right? I feel like if you grew up in America as a kid, like growing up in the early 2000s, yes, bro. Everyone knows this fucking song.
Yeah,
I do sing this song to myself like once every week or two. I think it just kind of catches the feeling of like fantasizing about being rich, and I guess like the kind of romance of it.
Yeah, it's also kind of more on this like lines of like a story. Like they're singing here, but there's also just a lot of goofing around and talking and having fun and laughing.
Exactly.
So it's kind of, you feel invited in.
100%. Also, I feel like this is a song that like somebody would sit down at a party and play.
Yeah.
If they were like, oh yeah, I don't want to play Wonderwall, I'll play this instead. But nonetheless, it's catchy as hell. It is catchy as all hell. I mean, once you hear it, I feel like it's stuck in your head for like at least a week.
Yeah, 100%.
Honestly, just great. It's just a great song.
Yeah.
But I gave this a 9 out of 10.
I gave this a 9 out of 10.
And that takes us into the last song on this EP titled Shoebox. Simply Shoebox. There's not really a ton of difference between the radio edit and the studio version, I guess, or like the album version, aside from the aforementioned instrumental introduction, but I don't know why. I just kind of like this one better.
Yeah, it's just a better song.
I don't know what it is. Something about the vibe.
Well, I think those 8 bars change the feel of the song too.
That's fair.
It's very, very much just kind of like starts on a different note. So then you're like, kind of, I feel like more prepared for this one.
Yeah,
what it is.
Drives a different sort of feel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can do a lot in 8 bars. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, this chorus again, it's just so addictive.
It nags a little bit, I think.
It makes me feel like I'm watching Scooby-Doo, man.
Yeah.
Like that type of sound. And for all the nostalgia points, for the musicality of it, I gave this one an 8.8 out of 10.
I gave this one an 8 out of 10.
Then that takes us into the album art for this album. What did you think of it?
I think Big Dale did it better. That's all I gotta say. It's a very good album art. It's got kind of like what I like to refer to as the NWA font.
Yeah.
As far as like Barenaked
Literally.
Ladies. And then Shoebox EP, like the font for that, looks kind of straight ripped off of like a home 80s slasher VHS tape.
Yeah.
And then the skeleton hand come out of a box.
It
looks good.
Yeah, it's very simple. Aside from like the skeleton hand, I would say everything else is like almost just a color block.
Yeah.
But I think that's just kind of typical for the time, and showing off more of like the alternative side of their sound, rather than this kind of like upbeat surfer rock sort of.
Yeah.
deal.
This is definitely more on like the dingy side of them.
I think that honestly contributes more to the nostalgia points.
Yeah, it's very 90s looking picture.
Very much so. But I give this honestly a flat 8 out of 10.
I also give this an 8 out of 10.
That concludes this episode of Album Book Club EP Reviews. We want to thank you for joining us today and reviewing such a wonderful EP.
Yeah.
And thank you again for sticking around. And while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe button and give us a comment while you're at it. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Be safe and be kind to yourselves, guys.